Hello and welcome to another episode of the Uncommon Energy Podcast. On this week's episode, we're going to be breaking down Azul's League Cup experience, his first League Cup in many years, and then also a show match that he held this past weekend. Lots of stuff going on in the world of Azul GG. We'll talk about a potential English translation issue mishap that led to an incorrect ruling, how that's being handled before the World Championships. We will, of course, have Guess That Flavor Text, everyone's favorite segment of the podcast. And then we're going to close out this episode talking about some of the early revealed Worlds merchandise. Worlds is just around the corner, Azul, coming up super soon. Going to be here before we know it. And yeah, I think everyone's getting excited. And then, of course, we will have our bonus episode over on the Patreon. If you do want to show us a little bit more support, be sure to check out the Patreon, patreon.com/uncommon energy podcast. Get extra content from us every single week. Well, almost every single week because we didn't have an episode last week. But my name is Chip Ritchie, and I'm joined here, as always, by my friend and co-host, Azul GG. What's up, Azul? How we doing, buddy? How's your last 2 weeks been?
Pretty good, Chip. Yeah, just doing a lot of content stuff. I got back from Utah last week. I was out there to stream the League Cup and everything. And I was feeling a little bit under the weather, so I didn't stream a lot last week, but picked it up again over the weekend with the show match, and then going into this week as well here on Monday. Streamed a little bit today, and
Today's Tuesday.
today's Tuesday, so yesterday's Monday. Playing Pokemon, talking about the new stuff coming out. They already got Stellar Miracle over in Japan. Area Zero. A lot of decks are playing Area Zero, the new stadium card that gives you 8 bench if you have a Terra Pokemon in play. So yeah, maybe we'll like talk about some of that kind of stuff next week or something like that. But yeah, I've been just loving making content. I've got like a lot of ideas for like stuff I want to do with content as well. I want to start like, man, I just like so many ideas for stuff I want to do with content. I want to start having like hosting like more like I want to keep doing my show match type stuff, and I've been having a ton of fun with that. Gonna keep doing that. I'm gonna try and be consistent with that. Try and do that every single month. And I also just want to like find more opportunities to just like showcase good players playing the game. So I'm thinking about like trying to like start like some kind of like bi-weekly tournament. I think the qualification for it would have to be like you'd have to have like top 8 or 16 a major, and then like run a tournament on Limitless, and anyone who's like has that achievement can like play in the tournament. I'm gonna try and get like some cash prizing behind it as well. So um yeah, man, I've just like been really
Sounds like you could call it the elitist series.
yeah. That's what some people will call it for sure. But yeah, I've just been having a ton of fun with like trying to come up with that, just making content in general, and then trying to get as much other of this other new stuff that I want to get done. But like I don't know, yeah, we're gonna be traveling here soon for a little while, or I'm gonna be, you're gonna be too for Worlds coming up. Um, that's gonna be, I don't know, just the break from travel has felt so much better than I thought it would. And it's weird because like we had this for 2 years and it didn't feel the same during COVID. But now that I have like this break away from competition, where I can really focus on just like content, it's been really nice. And I think I'll definitely miss it once the competitive season picks back up again for next season.
Sounds like there's a retirement announcement in your future, buddy.
I don't know. We'll see. I definitely plan, like, one thing I definitely plan to do for sure is I'm not going to be going to any major tournaments, I think, that line up with a set release weekend. I think I'm going to be staying at home, streaming the new set on those weekends. So I won't be going to Baltimore. I think I'm pretty much set on like not going to Baltimore, but I'm fine with that. It'll be the new set will be out. I won't even care. I wouldn't want to be at the tournament. Like those tournaments, I usually don't even feel like I want to be like before I get to the tournament. Once I'm at the tournament, I like being there and I like competing. But like before the tournament, I'm usually like, man, should I even go to this tournament? Like for Vancouver this year, the year before, I was like, man, do I even really want to go to this tournament? The new set just dropped. I could be playing with the new cards. You know, I think I'll be content. And there's so many tournaments. Like I'm definitely like more open to the idea of going to like European tournaments and regionals in Europe and like Latin America and stuff. So I'll be like kind of, I guess, like that'll be like my trade-off. If like I miss an American regional because a set drop on that weekend, then I might try and make up for it for like a with a European regional or something like that. Like I never been to um was it France before? So go Lille's in France, right? So going to something
Yes.
like that could be cool. So I might try and like that might be how I like structure my major tournaments I compete in next season. But yes, a lot of content still. It's got me thinking about the future of next season and seasons after that for sure a little bit. But yeah, that's my week, Chip. How about you? Anything or last 2 weeks? That's my last 2 weeks. How about you? How's your last couple weeks been?
Yeah, it's good. I was at the beach with my family last week as part of why we didn't end up doing the episode last week. I was kind of on my mobile setup again, and there wasn't like a really great space for me to do it really to record the podcast. It would have worked, but it was just kind of it was going to be kind of funky, I think, and so we just ultimately decided to postpone for a week. There was like not a lot to talk about, to be honest. That's kind of something
Yeah.
we've been struggling with these last few weeks with the podcast because there's no tournaments, right? There's yeah, not a lot going on, but thrown some ideas around about ways to remedy that in the future when these kind of lulls come up, which we're gonna be addressing. But then, yeah, in the last couple days, I've honestly been kind of sick. I kind of feel like I've still got it in my voice a little bit, so hopefully, it's I don't know, being on a podcast after being sick and like people just have to sit and listen to your voice for an hour. It doesn't sound like the most fun thing, and I also don't know if it's the most fun thing to listen to. So please bear with us. But yeah, hopefully it's not too dreadful. But yeah,
Uh,
good week with the family, hanging out and stuff. Uh, Caught just a little bit of your show match. Didn't get to catch any of the League Cup stream, but yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little bit this week to kind of kick our topics off.
yeah, yeah. So I did the League Cup stream last week. Went out to Utah to the Game Grid store. It was one of my sponsors, and I streamed the League Cup there. And I mean, our current plan is to try and do like a lot more with that moving forward. We streamed just one League Cup on Saturday, but might try and line up like Challenge Friday, Cup Saturday, another cup at another store on Sunday. So I'll like be spending the whole I spent the whole weekend there in general, just kind of hung out, which was fun, had a good time, but you can turn that into 3 streams over 3 days. With some pretty decent content. And it's just fun to like do that. I did that a little bit when I lived in Indiana, and I was actually starting to ramp up a little bit with it as well. I was like streaming all the challenges and cups at 2 stores
Yeah,
in Indiana, but then COVID hit. Like as I was like getting into the groove of that, like I, had a good relationship with the store owners. I had like my spot and my setup at the stores where I could just like consistently come each time there was a cup in a challenge. And then yeah, COVID hit, and then that kind of all went away. And then obviously I moved to California during COVID, so I haven't done anything like locally here with that kind of stuff. But working with Game Grid the last couple of years or so, or last year or so, not even quite a full year with Game Grid. But yeah, we decided to try and make that work this time around. I'm gonna try and do more with that in the future. Quarter to quarter as the cups happen. So I'm excited to do more of that kind of content because it's a ton of fun. Yeah, I still don't plan on playing any locals. I don't think you're gonna catch me at any cups or challenges, but I'm gonna try and do like the streams and stuff because yeah, the streams are a ton of fun.
we've had some ideas for the currently dormant, but hopefully coming soon, second Uncommon Energy channel that
Yeah.
involve Azul playing in like a local tournament. So, I wouldn't count it out. I think I can convince Azul for content purposes to maybe pull up to a cup or challenge. We'll make it happen at some point. Don't worry.
Yeah, if it involves content, then I'm always down.
Yeah, but that's cool. Yeah, I League Cups are so it's such a different dynamic, I think, to like regionals because it's a much smaller player base, right? So you kind of know your local players, right? The people who, might be coming from a couple hours away or the people who play at that store every single week, right? You kind of get a feel for what is popular, what certain people like. I think metagaming, I've talked about this before on the podcast, like metagaming becomes a little bit more important, honestly, at League Cups than it does at kind of the big tournaments. I think comfort level with a deck is almost the most important at regionals, but at League Cups and stuff, you gotta, I think find some spicy techs for what you expect good players to be playing, or pick a deck that's conducive to what you expect to see in the room. I think that's a big aspect of choosing what to play at a League Cup.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's like potentially a lot narrower of a field, which is something you can like take advantage of
Yeah.
for sure. So definitely something people should definitely look into doing a little bit more. Like if someone's gonna show up with stall, every single cup, every single challenge, they're a threat in
It feels
terms
like
of
I just want to say it does feel like every single locals right now has that like one stall or one control player,
yeah.
right?
And you can go like a step further, and it doesn't have to just be. It's like you can like gauge. Everyone locally knows who the good players are, right? The players who consistently top 8 league cups, or who you have to beat to probably win a challenge. Like if they're gonna show up with stall over and over again, and they're gonna be in that top cut, if you're playing Lost Box. put the Spiritomb in. Like make them have to respect the Spiritomb maybe moving forward, right? Like if they're gonna keep doing the same thing over and over again, it doesn't mean you have to do the same thing over and over again. Put the Spiritomb in your lost box or whatever it might be, and then have that tech card for the stall. So yeah, local meta definitely a lot. Yeah, we've talked about it before in the past. Like it's narrow. It's sometimes a narrower, more predictable field. Not always. Um, not always, especially depending on how far you're traveling, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Um, but sometimes there is like those local stuff. Also like the back to back league cups in like an area where like 50% maybe plus of the people who went to the league cup on Saturday are gonna be at the league cup on Sunday. So you either know like sometimes it's like one deck does really well and it's like okay everyone's gonna be countering that deck. What do I counter the counter with, right? Like if like
Really interesting metagaming things that can happen. It's
yeah,
really fun.
definitely. So yeah, definitely like something worth trying to go out of your way to do because it definitely you can definitely up your results quite a bit locally if you go out of your way to do that kind of stuff. But at the end of the day, playing a good deck and playing it well is always going to be the main factor. But when you can tech in the Spiritomb or what other like big tech cards are there in the format right now? Like
Yeah,
Spiritomb and
I almost feel like it can be more warped around, like, what your deck choice is, right? Like,
maybe right now it's more deck
if you
choice.
know a lot of people are gonna show up with Dragapult and you've really enjoyed playing Charizard, you probably gotta put the Charizard down, right? If you know that, like, a lot of the good players are gonna be
Tough,
playing
yeah.
some sort of Dragapult deck. I think that's kind of more frequently what we would see right now, but there's always room to find some sort of spicy tech, right? If there's a lot of good players playing Dragapult, it's okay to play a deck that has Rabska in it, even though it quote unquote might not be a good card right now, like in a wide tournament field like a regionals. If you want to beat specific people, you got to put those cards in there.
You definitely want to take as much advantage of your knowledge or skill level for where you are in the game in your local meta because it's so much easier to like get a read on that as well and like apply that to what you're playing, or like what deck you're going to bring or what tech cards you're going to choose to bring as well. Because like yeah, in a regional level setting, such a wider field, a little
It's
bit
harder
more
to make those
unpredictable.
predictions. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the skill level of players is going to vary a lot more. And it's gonna be like, you generally wanna be able to be pretty good against most decks as opposed to being like, "Well, I know the good players in the area choose to bring this, so maybe you can, like, give up on some matchups based on that or something like that." So, yeah, just, like, little things you can do to help maximize your win percentage locally, for sure. I guess, honestly, what was I gonna say with that, though? I guess we don't really know. I was gonna say, like, overall, though, I guess it doesn't really matter one way or another. It just kinda crossed my mind, but, like, local tournaments do matter less just in general this year, right? Local tournaments, like across the board, like in terms of like I guess like for like Worlds
You
Invite,
have you have a
like
longer
4.
time to get to your BFL, right?
Yeah, because you only need 4 now. I guess like the big thing, and I wish they would get that information out there. Honestly, would be the what they're doing with the reward system that they're tying to championship points this year, but they haven't said anything on that yet. I believe.
No, they have not. Yeah. Yeah,
I'm very
that
curious
that
what they
that
do with
is
that.
I think that is the thing that most people are most curious about with the season announcements. For those who don't know, Pokemon did say that, with the current season changes, moving away from a championship point threshold to get to Worlds, moving into the top 125, getting into Worlds, that there would be some sort of player reward system based on championship points. We just don't know what that is yet. They kind of just have left it a little ambiguous. I would imagine that they're pretty focused on making sure everything is good to go for Worlds, and so like finalizing all the details was probably not their highest priority, but they wanted to like put it out there that hey, this is something we're working on, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Which I think
definitely.
is fair.
Yeah. So yeah, that was like the League Cup and stuff last weekend. A ton of fun. A lot of people came out as well. I think someone mentioned it. I'm not sure if it's 100%, but it was like the biggest League Cup ever in Utah. Someone mentioned to
Oh
me.
wow.
So that was fun. Eric here made a little who was running the tournament made a little graph of the decks that were played. Charizard was the most popular, Guardy second, so nothing too shocking there, I think, for the the meta breakdown. Uh, and then Jonathan Means took the whole thing down with Lost Box. Jonathan probably isn't super well known name to a lot of players out there, but I've heard the name before. So I, knew he was a pretty strong player and yeah, played a pretty straightforward lost box deck. Nothing too crazy. Had the canceling cologne in there. It's pretty close to like what the Hedrick list, right? Has
Yeah.
Spiritomb over. There's no Iron Thorns. Has the Spiritomb in there. Then also has that canceling cologne to combo with Greninja, and also good at getting around stuff like Fluttermane and what's the other one? Clef Key, which
Mhm.
was actually able to utilize that up against Smart in the finals to get around it's the Flutter Main in the end to get access to Comfys again to close out the game with a Greninja play.
That's gotta be so tilting as a Gardevoir. Well, I assume Smart was playing Gardevoir, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gotta be so tilting, like, you go up against Lost Fox, you get the Clef Key active, you're like, "Yes, I've stopped them," and then they find their one of canceling Cologne on turn 1, like, what is that? Come on, man.
Yeah, it does feel really bad. So yeah, the canceling clone has like become like kind of the norm in the Lost Zone decks. I mean, it's good for a lot of reasons right now
Yes, yeah.
in the current format. It puts a lot more work in than just like setting up for like the Moonlight Shuriken combo, which is pretty hard to like set up for, to be honest. In general, it's not like something that's going to happen every single match when Manaphy's in play. So being able to utilize it in those other ways is nice for sure. Um,
Yeah. Yeah, definitely, and yeah, you mentioned as well, Jonathan Means might not be, like, the most well-known player, uh, nationwide or anything, but I think that's one of the cool things about cups too is, like, the good players in your area doesn't necessarily mean, like, the people who are in the top 16 of the
yep.
wor the
Yeah.
the the nation, right? It can be, just the people who are constantly winning your league cups, right? There's and every area has those players that are just really good players that, don't go out to as many regionals that, don't have big time tournament finishes, but it's mostly just because they don't go to the big time tournaments. They're just local warriors. People just love playing Pokemon who are just good at the game as well.
Yeah, yeah, and it's really cool to be able to like showcase that more with like streaming local tournaments, which is like, definitely something I really enjoy doing and want to like hopefully do more of in the future. It's cool to just like get a chance to showcase those players who don't go to very many or just haven't got that breakout performance yet, but still showcasing some good gameplay whenever they get on stream or anything like that. I guess like one deck that we could point out here in the top 8 besides there was 4 Gardevoirs. And the way the bracket was, it was possible to have 4 Gardevoirs in top 4. Thankfully,
Hmm.
2 of them lost, and it wasn't super boring from there. But Makani's still been sticking on the Arceus deck, and the build is pretty interesting. It's basically straight Arceus, heavy on the jamming tower, not only to I guess you can like you mean get around Bravery Charms, but honestly, like shutting down Bravery Charms against Guardia, obviously a big deal. But shutting down the TM Evo is honestly probably one of its strongest applications in like the Guardia matchup specifically. I don't think we saw it happen actually in the matchup because Makani did go up against Smart in top 8. We didn't see it actually go down, but I was actually pretty impressed by this Arceus build to be honest. And there's like there's a lot of like weird stuff in it. You got the Fighting Ogre Pawn, so you got that in there for like the Charizard matchup. Legacy Energy to offset the prize trade is pretty cool as well. So they can't just go through 3 Arceus. You can get to find the Legacy Energy at some point, and then make it so when they hopefully eventually go through that Arceus, they could still boss a B barrel at some point, but you can you can kind of force them into that. So maybe Arceus isn't completely dead, but it also might just be Makani forcing Arceus as much as he possibly can, because it definitely seems like it has fallen off the last format or 2.
What do you think Makani's gonna play at Worlds?
Uh, honestly, it might be it could be Arceus. It could be Arceus.
Arceus
I don't know.
Dusknoir, that sounds kinda scary.
I feel like Arceus has to get worse moving forward because Charizard's going to get better.
Mhm.
But I don't know. Maybe he can piece it together. It'd definitely be cool to see him piece it together. I'm always down for there to be more archetypes that are actually viable than people think. When a format finally like concludes or as it starts to progress through it. So always down for that.
Well, this League Cup wasn't the only tournament that you were putting on. I guess it was the only tournament you were putting on, but not the only, Pokemon matches you were featuring. You did have your show match as
Yeah.
well this past weekend. You had probably the two best brothers, pairs of brothers in the game right now, the Cameron brothers from Europe and the Fernandez brothers from Brazil, squaring off $1,000 showdown, best of 9 conquest. How did it go, Azul?
Yeah, so this is super dope to put on. The Fernandez did end up taking it all down 5-2. If you guys want to rewatch the matches as well, they're on my YouTube channel. They're not in the video tab though; they're under the live tab. Basically, the whole match is kind of like a whole run-on thing, so I didn't see any real reason to like go back and edit the video at all, except for maybe like I could have cut out like the first 10 minutes of the stream starting screen. So it's basically like a whole run on thing from there. So go check that out if you guys want to watch the match. And I was able to commentate it alongside Aaron Curry, who is a an old school player returning to the game as of recent. So that was really really cool. Actually met him for the first time and played against him at NAIC. So shout out to Aaron for coming on and casting with me. It's really cool to have him. He was one of those players like back in the day. I never met him back in the day, but I knew the name. Like I knew him to be one of like the strongest players in his area. I knew the name. He always came up with interesting decks. And that's actually something he mentioned when we were kind of talking about that a little bit on the cast was like he feels like his success was probably held back a little bit because he always tried to force doing something different instead of sometimes just playing the best deck. He always wanted to do something different, and a lot of his different decks were pretty cool and pretty good. Um, but you're also gonna have some stinkers sometimes with that as well.
Yeah, he does have a little bit of a limitless page here, but it's all old school results. We've got 2012 top 16 at the World Championships with Mewtwo Electric. I would say probably not the spiciest of picks.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good deck back then. And then in 2013, he did get top 16 at US Nationals as well with a Selgor Gothitelle, which was a very strong archetype at the time.
It's a $400 deck.
It's because it's got Tropical Beach in it.
Yeah. And is this the nationals
It's actually
that
probably more than that because this probably does not account for the real price of Tropical Beach.
yeah. Is this the nationals that who won this one? It was, and I'm trying to
This is
think.
the one that Sable House got second. Yeah,
Yeah,
correct.
Sablez
Edmund
Gossett,
Correct.
yeah, Edmund Couros. And this was, I believe Edmund needed to, like, win to get his Worlds invite. I think that's how it was, like, he had to win the tournament to get his Worlds invite. Like, he was going into it with just enough championship points or play points to play in the tournament, that was it, and then he had to win the tournament to get his Worlds invite for that year.
Well,
And then he
he
went down
did
with
it.
the
It's pretty
down with
sick.
the Gothitelle deck, which was a terrible matchup for Ryan. There was no chance.
Yeah, yeah. There was
I
quite a few of them in Top Cut, so he managed
Yeah,
to dodge it up to that point or
it was
found a way. I mean, you can for those who don't realize, back in 2013, there was no restrictions on turn 1 of the game. You could play a supporter, you could play all your item cards, you could attack as well on your first turn of the
yeah,
game, and so it was not uncommon for this deck, the Plasma Curum deck, to just do a ton of damage on turn 1, so it's entirely possible, we saw some donks on the way to Ryan's
yeah. Well, Ryan
second
yeah,
place
Ryan
finish.
did donk Edmund in one of the games, I think.
Ooh,
So it was a 2-1 victory, but Edmund went, like, just passed with a Pokemon in the active or something.
is that where the old school
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah,
Duskull
yeah.
Pass chant comes
That's
in?
where it comes from, the Duskull Pass, yeah,
Yeah.
that's where it comes from. But yeah, I think this was just, like, the broken deck of the tournament, but if I remember correctly, like, this deck wasn't unknown. I remember testing this deck before nationals that year. So it wasn't, like, a super unknown deck, but then it did, like, overall kinda dominate the tournament, I would say. I think people just didn't respect it,
Yeah.
overall, um, except for check Puka's list. How many like, I know Puka played a Keldeo, which is what you wanna play for the matchup. Down, down, there you go.
Yeah, sorry.
You got it. Oh, no, Puka didn't play the Keldeo. For some reason, I thought Puka played the Keldeo. I thought he was respecting it because I remember, like, watching him playing in top 16, um, watching the top 16 matches. Maybe it was someone else. But yeah, for anyone who doesn't know what the Excelgor deck does, Excelgor paralyzes your opponent's active, and then Gothitelle when it's in the active, and Excelgor shuffles itself back to the deck, and then but you use it with Mew EX. Mew EX copies one of your Pokemon's attacks in play.
Any Pokemon in plays attack.
Yeah. So you shuffle the Mew back to the deck, and then you send up Gothitelle, which item locks your opponent. And the only way to get out of paralysis was a switch, and the only way to gust trap something was Pokemon Catcher.
Yep.
And then Dusknoir moves damage around on the field from anywhere to anywhere, on their side, anywhere to anywhere.
Yeah.
So you just sit there and trap their active, and you draw 6 prize cards in one turn.
Yeah.
Not a
Yeah.
very
Yeah,
fun
you
deck to
just
play
get
against.
something stuck active, lock it active, and then you could even knock stuff out as the game was going on if you wanted to, but
Yeah,
you probably wouldn't because you don't wanna get end to low, right?
yeah.
But yeah,
And
you can,
then,
like, set things up to where things get knocked out coming back into your turn with the poison damage and stuff like that. It was a cool deck.
yeah, it was really interesting because, like, this deck is actually just not good if people respect it, and this was a terrible play at Worlds because every deck had, like, people were playing, like, Darkrai with double Keldeo and stuff like that,
Though I
which is
do believe
beefus.
it did win Worlds in seniors, if I'm not mistaken.
Did it?
I think
Wait,
so.
that result wouldn't be here, though. You need to go to
No, it's here. But
no,
yeah,
no, but
it
there's
is
not
also on PC.
seniors.
Oh, not seniors, yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Shout outs
Do
to
it.
our boy Alex Wilson at PTCG Legends with the seniors results.
Be funny if it wasn't here
Oh,
either.
just kidding. It was printed as one of the world's decks, so it got top 4. This kid
Okay.
got top 4 at worlds and got his deck printed as one of the world's decks, Ian Witten.
Yeah, the finalists gotta feel like they got scammed there.
No,
That's the only team
his
that's
deck
already
got
printed.
printed too. Everyone except
Oh,
Kaiwin's
really?
got printed, yeah.
And that's because because I believe Simon's deck probably got printed, right?
Nope,
Simon and Jason?
they printed Jason's deck, they
Mm,
printed Clement's and Ian's deck, and then they printed one of I think this kid that got 2nd place
yeah,
junior's
that
deck.
plasma.
Yeah.
Mm. And that does kinda feel bad. Well, it's juniors and seniors. Go win in masters and you get your deck printed. That's,
Mm.
yeah.
Only surefire way to get your
Oh,
deck
wait, go to
printed.
juniors there. Is that Oh, no, it's a different Andre, right?
Yes,
I
yes.
thought it was Andre. I was like, "What the heck?"
Not Skubal, Kujal.
Yeah. That's
Close,
cool.
close.
I didn't see the last name, that's why I did, like, do a double take. I just saw the Andre.
But anyway, back to the main topic of the show.
How did we sidetrack on that? Oh, we were
I
talking
have
about Aaron,
no
yeah. We were talking
idea.
about Aaron Curry, yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh, right, right, right.
Um, but yeah, the show match was dope. If you all guys wanna watch it, check it out. Um, go over to the YouTube channel. Still some high level gameplay from, definitely the 2 top sibling duos in the game. Some of the top players from Europe and, Brazil or Europe and Latin America regions. So go check that out. Definitely it's definitely dope. Yeah, I was super excited to have them on, and like I said, I'm gonna try and keep doing the show match. Is gonna still like aim for that the goal of monthly, once a month, and I'm excited for the next one. And the hardest part is like sending the messages, like like figuring out
Why?
everyone I want on my thing. I don't know because it's just like that's like the first step to get everything rolling. Then it gets easy from there. But like that's like I just gotta like send the messages to the people
Like,
for
worried
who
that
I
people
want.
would say no or
No, not really. I
just
just like
taking care of it?
yeah, just go another way to get it done. I guess it's a little bit daunting because then I have to get everything else in line as well. So maybe it's just that's the thing. It's like once I do that, I know I have to get everything else rolling as well. So it's like that's like the catalyst to getting everything fully set up and ready to go.
Mhm.
Um, for sure. But I guess like one more thing we could talk about with this was after the dub, Gabriel put out a tweet, you know, thanking the cameramans for the games, give me a shout out for putting everything on, whatever. And then also made an announcement that he's going to be unbanned. He is unbanned moving forward from here on out, which is I mean, I'm glad to hear that in the sense that it's cool to have the best senior in the game by far, not even close, be able to defend his title at Worlds. Could have been even a sicker timeline if he had won NAIC and then won Worlds back to back, but has a potential to still get that back to back Worlds win, which is still pretty sick.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so for those who don't know, I mean, we did talk about this a couple weeks ago, but after we talked about how Gabrielle got DQ'd at NAIC even back a month ago now at this point, over a month ago. And
Oh
then
well,
a few weeks later, it did come out that he had been banned. And then it looks like that's been resolved. So he'll be able to go to Worlds. It's pretty interesting to I mean, we don't know all the details of exactly what happened here,
yeah.
right? Behind the scenes. Um,
But we
you
know
know,
that TPCI
it's
did ban him and then did unban him.
yeah, that's all we know, right? They felt like there was a reason enough to ban him, and then I imagine some sort of refute rebuttal from the Fernandez led to him being unbanned. So whether that was enough information for Pokemon to be like, okay, yep, you know what, that's fair. We're confident that XYZ didn't happen, or yeah, I don't know. It's saying anything would be speculation, to be honest. So
Yeah.
it is pretty interesting though, because it's a pretty high profile ban, and it did get turned around pretty quick.
Yeah, definitely. It still would have been nice, like I think, for these more high profile situations, or I like another word I've been using recently, but basically like this situation, the whole community questions it, wants to know what's going on. Same thing with like the Noah situation. So it would be nice to see TPCI put out statements on these, yeah, high profile situations like that. But it's a good sign.
I feel like it's less likely that it would happen with Gabrielle since he is a senior. He is a minor, right?
Maybe I don't know if that makes like too big of a difference overall, but I guess that could be fair. It is good to know though that like even when Pokemon does something, like whether they I don't know if they think they were wrong in the situation for TPCI side, or they were just like, maybe they didn't have the full story, and then once they got the full story, that led to it. But whatever it is, like they're open to the idea of unbanning people when enough information is being given, or there's enough of a back and forth between both sides, which is just like a really good thing that you want to see from TPCI. So I think it's just like a positive to see this happening overall, just like to know that it is possible and TPCI isn't just like, well, even if we think we messed up, we already banned them, so we're not going to unban them because that makes us look bad, right? Because in a way, this does kind of make TPCI look a little bad, I guess, right? But people make mistakes all the time, so we shouldn't hold anyone to this um, ridiculously high standard that's unachievable. As long as they're willing to work with the community on stuff like this. It's just a really good sign to see. So, still would love to see some kind of statement from them about it overall, but this is still like
Yeah.
a step in the right direction.
Yeah, definitely something to clear the air. Because honestly, if anything, for Gabriel's sake, right? Because now, for the rest of his Pokemon career, he is such a profile player, right? No matter how successful he is in games, there will be people who will doubt the legitimacy of his victories, right?
Yeah,
Because he's got this kind of behind him. So I think that would be mitigated a bit if Pokemon did come out and make a statement. Hey, we don't think XYZ happened, so we're unbanning him after everything that happened in AIC. Because now it's just going to be something that's like a little bit of a shadow that's like pretty much always going to follow him. I mean, it's true for players who are good today that had sort of situations happen whenever they were younger in the game, and uh, uh, that maybe is less so like viewed in the public sphere, but like kind of people who were around back then more know. The game is so much bigger now, and everyone is on Twitter now, right? Everything is much more focal, front and center. I think this is like something that's just going to be kind of always lingering.
yeah, definitely, definitely, for sure. So I could say I didn't even think about it in like terms of that, but like that would be like another thing that'd be good to just see for, I don't know, for the sake of his like career moving forward. Because yeah, people are always gonna have that question mark about the situation and things like that. It's like, well, he was banned at one time. What was he banned for? Why was he unbanned? Um, yeah, I didn't really think about it like that, but it's a really good point. That'd be like another reason to
For them
have
to say
TPCI,
something.
yeah, clear the air on it all, and then we know for sure, what happened and what went down. But yeah, it's probably not going to happen if they haven't said anything at this point. I would feel like, but
Yeah. And Gabriel's already out there taking dubs. He tweeted, I actually saw this tonight. Already got unbanned, immediately wins a challenge. There you go.
there we go, man. Yeah, I'm really excited to see his run throughout the rest of the time in seniors because it's very. I think it's just almost like likely at this point that he will end up being the most successful, if he's not already the most successful senior ever. He's close. He's got to be close to it, right?
Yeah.
So I'm curious to see how far he can go and like what bar is he going to set in the seniors division for other people to try and surpass once he ages up to the masters division. Because he's definitely like making history in the seniors division as right. Because wait, didn't he? Wait, he won? Did he win both ICs this year besides
He,
NAIC?
yeah, he won Worlds
Like,
and then he won LAIC, won EUIC. Yeah.
like he could have theoretically also won NAIC. So that's like regionals are still major tournaments, but like that's the four, it'd be four international wins in a row, right? Worlds, IC, and then could have got Worlds again, and still could win Worlds again. Yeah, just kind of absurd. Definitely a crazy story. But yeah, definitely it feels like he's making history in the seniors division because I don't think anyone's done that. I don't know in the seniors division
Yeah.
alone, like already, and he
Yeah.
still has a couple more years to rack it up even further.
Yeah, at least one, I think.
Has there ever been
And he's been
a
winning regionals as well. Grant, like I don't know what the size of them exactly is down in Brazil, but he's
yeah,
been winning the regionals as well.
yeah? And then I guess like another thing to go with that, has even in juniors and seniors, has anyone ever won back to back worlds?
Uh, I don't believe so.
Has anyone
I don't
won
know that there's been a multi-time. I think Jason is literally the only person to have won multiple worlds in
in
any
TCG?
division. In any
Yeah,
division. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So
yeah,
like even someone like going from winning in juniors, I don't think anyone has won in juniors and then won in seniors or masters. I could be wrong, but I'm like 98% sure that is the case.
Yeah. All right. I mean, yeah, he's got a good shot at being the next then behind Jason.
Yeah.
I guess like the closest we've had up to that point was Shintaro, right? Lost
Yeah.
Henry in the finals.
Shintaro's got a win and then a second, and then you've got
Yeah.
people like Ross who have 2 seconds in the top 4, right?
Yeah. Tord
Um,
now has a second in the top
and a
four.
second in the top 4, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people. I remember I listened to the Shift Gear podcast episode where they did their, like, top 10 players of all time, and one of the big things, in the rating, specifically for Kieran, was that he weighted Worlds super heavily. And I think it was Sammy Sakum has, like, the most top cuts of anyone at World
Yeah. Like
Championships, something like
5.
that, yeah, which is
It's funny
crazy.
it's funny that actually you bring that up again because I actually saw when people were, like, going back and forth in the GOAT debate of, like, Tord versus Jason. I think it was Bradner who brought it up, but, like, not that he discredits Worlds, but he, like, doesn't think it's, uh because of the format. The format definitely is a little like, at Worlds, the format there's more RNG to the format, the Worlds format, than there is, like, an IC.
And especially at some of those older and smaller worlds as well,
Yeah.
right?
Which maybe means, like, you could put more of a I mean, that almost sounds like it's almost an argument in favor of Jason at that point in the Jason versus Tor debate because he did win 3 worlds where the format was a little bit more, RNG heavy or whatever you wanna call it. Yeah, here's the tweet if you wanna go ahead and read it out.
Yeah, Bradner said there's a huge misconception about the difficulty of Worlds. In the past, when Worlds was a quote new event for day 2, winning Worlds was certainly much easier than winning an IC. But Worlds get boosted because of the name and it only occurring once a year toward easily GOAT.
Yeah.
And I do think it is definitely an interesting point. But at the end of the day, right, regardless of what the format is of it,
Well,
there's
they could
one
get
goal from every Pokemon player. They wanna be a world champion, right? That is,
yeah,
like,
yeah.
the ultimate goal to reach for in the game. So, regardless of what qualifications it takes to get to that point, someone being able to get there multiple times, I think definitely should carry a lot of weight. Even if it was, quote, unquote, "easier," it still wasn't easy, right?
Yeah, yeah. No, the world I do agree with Bradner to an extent, like,
Yeah.
the way Worlds just kinda plays out based on the number of players and the number of rounds we play, it feels a little bit more janky. I can't think of, like, a better word to use than something like an IC. Um But it's not janky enough to the point where it's like yeah, it's not janky enough to the point where it's like, "Alright, we're just gonna completely discredit Worlds." Because like, theoretically, Worlds could be like, you play 1 round, and then they just RNG take 8 of the people who won the first round, and then they can become top 8, right? That would be, like, absurd, right? We're not so there's, like, a point where it'd be ridiculous, but we're definitely far, far away from that, so there's still a lot of credit that needs to be put and we see Stefan actually agrees with Radner here as well, it looks like.
Yeah, and I think so for anyone who doesn't know, like there was this big kind of debate in the Pokemon community over the last couple of weeks. We actually didn't even talk about it on the podcast. This is something I guess we could have brought up, and it was around this video that Andrew Mahone put out. Who is the greatest Pokemon TCG player of all time? And he asks a bunch of Pokemon players their opinion. He asks myself. He asks Azul as well. Our thoughts on the discussion, the debate, and it's really just a competition between these two: Tord Reklev, 5-time IC winner; Jason Klaczynski, 3-time Worlds winner. They're from 2 different eras of the game. One thing I don't think gets pointed out ever, though, I'm pretty sure in Mahone's video as well, he talks about how, like, there's no overlap between the times that they played, or very little overlap. I'm pretty sure Jason played at NAIC in 2017, the one
He
that
did
Tord won.
it was 2016, I think, right?
17.
Oh, he
2016
wa
was
yeah,
for
he
nationals.
yeah, he was there, I remember seeing him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I played retro with him at that event. That's actually where I met Jason.
Oh, I did
Um
too, actually. I think I played we played, like, a base set cube or something. We were flipping so many coins, man, it
It
was
was
t
the Neo
absurd.
format. It was the Neo
Yeah.
format, yeah.
I was like, "What is going on?" All of this thing is just all flipping coins.
I'm pretty sure he played in the event as well, like,
Yeah, he
didn't just
did.
show
No,
up and
he
play
did, yeah.
retro. So, like, he
But
did
I
play.
but was he playing the game, right? I
Right,
think we
right.
can give him credit and be like, we don't wanna, like, add that to his, like, uh, I don't know, argument against him being was he actually playing the game at that time?
Well,
I'm actually not sure.
and honestly as well, I think that could be a detractor for him, like, returning to the game, right? Can you imagine the, like, pressure that Jason would need to feel if he came back to play the game right now? Like, he would need to put up top tier results instantly, which is probably unreasonable to expect because the last time he was playing in regional championships, there were 250 people at them.
Yeah, I mean, I think he could do it. I don't think
Yeah, I'm sure he could if
if
he
you put
put
in the
in.
time and effort,
Yeah, yeah.
um, and I mean, it definitely kind of felt like for a little bit there that like he might be trying to make a comeback. Um, but who knows? I mean, maybe he'll show up next season and just start playing the game again. I think he'll be fine if he did come back. Like he would be able to compete with the best if he puts the time and effort in. I don't think there's really any question about that. Just whether or not he wants to. And I guess that'd be like one thing. Yeah, I guess people would put that on him a little bit for sure. I mean, I personally wouldn't. Like, I don't think if he showed up and played in a couple majors and couldn't even day to a major, I don't think that ruins his legacy in the game. Now, if he sticks around for a couple seasons and can't day to a major, we might have something to talk about there. But I'm sure he would be fine. And it would be more so like, how much does he care about what other people think? Or does he just want to come back and compete and play some Pokemon?
Yeah.
It would be cool to see. I
Did
would
you
love to
watch
see
the
it, to be
video
honest.
from did you watch Mahone's video?
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I
Okay.
did.
So what did you think about his cuz like he asked you about who you thought was the best.
Yeah.
And one of the things you said when he asked you was like you were not sure if to be considered the best you had to win worlds. Like you weren't sure if that was the case.
Yeah.
Uh but then he followed up and asked you where you felt like you sat in the conversation. Obviously, you with tons of results, yeah, like some the most major event victories in like the modern era of the game, I think, even more than Tord. Um, asked like where you felt like you put yourself, and you said, I don't think you said something to the effect, I don't want to put words in your mouth. It was like I wouldn't even put myself in the conversation unless I won worlds. Didn't you say that? Something like that?
No, I said, and what I meant by I said I would if I win, I don't know if I win worlds this season or next season, maybe I'll think about it.
Okay. Yeah.
But what I meant by that is just like that's what I would need to like close the gap on achievements or start to close the gap. It wouldn't just be that I need to win worlds because if I won like all three ICs and three regionals this season, I'd be like, all right, maybe y'all should put me up there, like. And I will be going to all the ICs this year for sure. I still want to compete at those bigger tournaments to try and take those down. So I'll definitely be there. Um, I'll be at some regionals still for this season for sure. So yeah. So at that point, maybe. But yeah, it would just be like that would be like enough of a catalyst to probably maybe I can think maybe I'll think about it more myself or I'll enter the conversation. But I would need something like that to for it to actually like put me even in the conversation at that point. Not that I would need to win worlds. It's like a worlds win would bump me up there. Is how I viewed it.
Sure. Well, we've kind of derailed from our original topic here, but I think it's good
One more thing I
discussion
was
all
gonna
the
say with
same.
that. I had one more thing I was gonna go with that now as well. I was thinking, but I can't even remember what it was.
About
What we
Gabriel's ban or
no, we were talking the goat thing. You mentioned it. Yeah, I can't even remember what it was though. What were we talking? We were saying. Yeah, I'm honestly just blanking. I maybe didn't even have anything to begin with, to be honest. We can continue. Go ahead.
Azul's got nothing over there.
I had
Yeah, our next
something.
topic here is kind of an interesting one. This little discussion we saw pop up on Twitter this week, naturally, of Drake Gearhart being involved in the the conversation there. Um, there was like this kind of like notion of this where the way cards are worded in English, and then how like people could maybe be confused about like how card interactions worked. I think the actual initial discussion was around someone tagging Jake, asking about yeah, let me pull this one up, about this Terra Ogerpon, the Wellspring Mask Ogerpon EX in Japan with the new card coming out, the Terra Crystal and Double Turbo, thinking they can do it, but no, you can't. You actually can, right? So for those who don't know, the Terra Crystal A spec says that the Pokemon it's attached to, the Terra Pokemon this card is attached to, attacks cost one less energy card of any type. And then Torrential Pump. So if you have that tool attached and a double turbo energy, you can shuffle back in just the double turbo energy to do the extra damage. But this person underlines the fact that it says you may shuffle 3 energy attached to this Pokemon into your deck. double turbo energy, obviously only 2 energy cards. But in the Pokemon TCG, when something like this happens, kind of the thing you always hear people talk about is like do as much as you can, right? And in this instance, as much as you can is shuffling back in the 2 energy cards. So you are still able to utilize this attack.
Yeah, so Pokemon is always a do as much as you can card game. And it could be worded that it would prevent it,
Yes.
where it could say if you cannot shuffle 3 energy back
In
into
this,
your
yeah.
deck, you cannot use this attack, but it's not worded that way. So it means you just have to do as much as you can, and there's nothing stopping you from just doing as much as you can. It's kind of funny. I feel like Ben here is so confident, thinks he's so confidently right, but then he's like digging himself a hole in the replies. I swear I've seen like 10 lists with it. Do they not read their cards at Japanese locals? But in fact, they do, and they are. It is correct, and that's how Pokemon has always been. It's always been a just do as much as you can. It's always been a do as much as you can
Yeah.
um, game. And Japan, like this is how the card is designed to be played. So whatever Japan says is correct, and that's how we should play the game because that's what the designers of the game want us to do. So it's not really a discussion of like it's never like a discussion of like should it be this way or should TPCI rule it differently. It's always just like as long as Japan tells us this is how it's done, that's how we should do it.
And
Um,
then that led to Jake responding here and says, as long as you can complete part of the effect, you can still use the second effect. It's the same as Reggie Drago V Star. As long as you can discard at least one card, you can use Legacy Star. That leads to his follow up tweet here where he does point that out once again. The keyword circled here is then, comma, put two cards from discard pile into your deck. So it's like if you do the first part, then you get to do the second part. But that actually led to Jake finding an error. I don't know if this is an error in translation or just an error in ruling or exactly what happened here. But it's with the Sinistra EX, which has the Rebrew attack. You put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon for each basic grass energy in your discard pile. Then, comma, shuffle those energy cards back into your deck. So, what and there was 2 different rulings here. The ruling in Japan said if you choose a Pokemon on the bench where the wow, it is really difficult to read this. It's like
basically,
poor Google Translate.
yeah, basically, if you pick a Pokemon, if they have Rabsca on their bench and
Yes,
you use what is the Pokemon called?
Sinistra.
Sinestra, and you target a Pokemon on their bench, you
Yes,
can't put any damage on the Pokemon. And the way it's supposed to be worded is if you put damage on a Pokemon, then you shuffle all the energy back. But the way it's worded in the English translation of the card is just put damage on Pokemon, and for each basic grass energy you just grab out, then shuffle them back no matter what. But it's not supposed
right.
to be no matter what. It's supposed to be if damage is placed. So if there was a Rabsca in play and you targeted a Pokemon on the bench, you wouldn't actually shuffle any of the grass energy back to the deck.
Yeah,
You
so
shouldn't be able to.
a pretty rare instance here where there's contradicting rulings, right? The TPC ruling from Japan and then the one from TPCI in the compendium, which says the energy would still get shuffled into the deck.
Yeah.
Um,
So I
and
mean,
then
honestly, shout out to Detective Jake, bro, because I mean, it's pretty sick that we have people like as dedicated to like thinking about and like looking at the game as him to like bring light to this, which will get something changed in the compendium, right? Will actively change the rules,
yeah.
the way they are um worded in the compendium. So yeah, shout out to Jake.
Yeah, and we see Puka here even responded, who's someone who works at TPCI, said, "Thanks for pointing this out. Seems like the ruling in the compendium is incorrect. This should get sorted out before Worlds."
Yeah, it's dope to see. And that communication, honestly, as well. Like Puka is someone who, yeah, like you said, most people know works for TPCI. So even him just like, commenting on that and letting it, like giving reassurance to the community that like, people like him are looking out and then, letting us know that it'll get sorted out is like really cool as well. So actually, can you go back to the Reggie Drago? I want to read that. What is Reggie? How is it worded? It says,
Reggie Drago's V Star power says during your turn, you may discard the top 7 cards of your deck. Then put up to 2 cards from your discard pile into your hand.
this is worded correctly or
Yeah.
this is
Yes.
mistranslated? Okay.
You cannot use Legacy Star if you can't discard cards from your deck.
Okay. Because you would knowingly go to discard and know there's nothing to discard.
Yes.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And is this different
He
then?
did, he
Was it
did say it was mistranslated. Jake here says Reggie Drago's Legacy Star ability is mistranslated.
Oh,
This phrase was incorrectly translated to then instead of if you do. So the
Wait,
rulings are correct, but the wording is not the best, I think is what
so
the issue is
wait,
here.
can you use Legacy V-Star with 0 cards in deck, but you just wouldn't nothing would
No,
happen?
because this should be if you do.
No,
Oh,
but
can you choose to use it?
yeah, can you just use it,
Uh,
and then because you didn't discard anything, you just don't get
actually,
any cards back?
you you might would be able to, right? You can't
Right.
play trainer cards if it's known that they will have no effect, but abilities and
Yeah.
attacks are different, right?
Yeah, because you can, like, trade I remember because like, when me and my group played the expanded Zoroark Toad deck, you can
Yeah.
trade with 0 cards in deck because we would trade away the fossil card and then put the fossil card back in the deck, so we have, like, an infinite deck to work with. Um, so, yeah, I think it probably is different, and that's how I've always understood it, is, like, attacks and abilities, it is like, you can use Sobble's Keep Calling with a full bench because you can still use the attack, it just insta fails. You can't play a Nest Ball with a full bench. Um Because, like, using Sobble could lead to being able to the interaction that came up with that is, like, you'd wanna use Sobble's Keep Calling so you could use Zeraora V on the next turn, which says if a Rapid Strike Pokemon
Yeah.
attacks during your last turn, you get the bonus effect of the attack.
Or
You
more
could, like
simply, just to shuffle your deck.
no, you couldn't you're it just insta fails. You can't even shuffle your deck, I don't think. You can't
Oh,
even
you
look at
can't
it.
even search your deck, but you can
Like,
still announce the attack.
yeah, I'm pretty sure it just insta fails. So it's like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
use Keep Calling, you did attack, an attack happened, but nothing happens. It just
Right.
instantly goes to
Yeah,
your opponent's turn after that. So yeah, so Legacy Star is mistranslated then, right? That's what we're coming to here as well?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
Okay.
what Jake's pointing out here. But the ruling was at least correct, right? The rulings were correct.
Was it?
Actually, it doesn't look like there is a ruling on Regidrago V-Star in
Jake just made the ruling.
yeah, well, he's using the similar ruling from Rayquaza GX, which has he's pointing out in Japanese, it's this little phrase, which is
Yeah.
circled on both cards. It's the same on both cards, but on Rayquaza GX, it says if you do, and then on
Oh.
Regidrago, it says then.
So during the translation process, that phrase should be going to "if you do," but there's been a hiccup in the translation process, which hopefully that now that Jake
Maybe
is
so, yeah.
dude, just hire Jake, bro. What is going on here, bro? Like, we have the translator. He's here. I don't know if Jake knows how to speak Japanese, but, he's catching the errors, so get him
I think I
involved.
saw a tweet from him that said he does not speak Japanese, but is, like, taking classes this fall or something like that, maybe? Someone did reply man, it's gonna be impossible for me to find it because he tweets so much, but someone did say, like, "Why don't you just learn Japanese at this point?" And he said something to that effect, that he's taking classes soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's good enough. He doesn't even speak Japanese, but he's still catching the errors, and he's, like, figuring out the root of the error, right? It's like this little phrase here is what's leading to this every single time. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty interesting, but, cool to see that, it was caught and then, like, an error, it will be, fixed by Worlds, so, there won't be any gameplay errors that happen with anyone's Sinistcha EX decks at Worlds, which
Yeah,
is
mostly because
a
no one
great
will be
thing.
playing it, so
No, no, yeah,
yeah,
well, we can't be sure about that.
I'm pretty confident. But the Regidrago, on the other hand, there will be Regidragos there,
That is a
so
very relevant
but
deck,
there is
yeah.
the reference towards the Rayquaza, but I guess there is no compendium about the Regidrago, so, um, there will be hopefully one after this, after Detective Jake discovered the error.
Well, Azul, I think we can move on from here into our next segment, Guess That Flavor Text. But before we get there, we do have to take a moment to thank our amazing sponsor, Dragon Shield, for supporting us here at the Uncommon Energy Podcast. Dragon Shield, of course, makes some of the best card gaming and tabletop gaming products on the market. We love them for the sleeves. That's all that we use whenever we're playing in tournaments. I've got all my retro decks sleeved up in Dragon Shield sleeves. I've got my cube sleeved up in Dragon Shield sleeves. I actually might go play in a league challenge this weekend. There's one
Ooh,
nearby, so I'm gonna have to bust something out. I've got another box of the anniversary edition, which I think you can still pick up. We'll have a link to that in the description.
yeah, make sure you go check them out, and you can use, code UEPOD over there, get yourself 5% off, support us directly here on the podcast as well, and get yourself some dope sleeves. I'm actually curious, Chip, because you mentioned that. Do you know what you're gonna play in your challenge?
No idea.
No. Do you have anything you want to play? Or anything that intrigues you in the current format?
Not really. That's why I'm not even sure if I'm gonna go.
Man,
I haven't played in a challenge in so long though, so I kind of do want to, but
yeah.
I would I don't know. The only deck I have sleeved up at the moment is Charizard, so I'd maybe just play that, but it would just depend on I don't know. I don't know. I would probably play some games on the next couple days on TCG Live and try to see if I could cook something up interesting.
Yeah.
I like to play the unique off the wall decks, kind of like the conversation you were talking about that you had with Aaron Curry. And I'm not playing for a Worlds invite or anything like that, so I would almost like rather show up and play something more unique, right? But
Play stall.
I also am competitive and do want to win. So ultimately, that's where the catch 22 between do I play something fun that is interesting or do I play something that is going to let me like have a better shot to win the tournament?
Yeah, that's always the question. All right, yeah. Well, let's get into guess that flavor text. Each week, me or Chip picks a card, reads the flavor text on the card, and the other co-host tries to guess what Pokemon that card belongs to. You get it right without using a lifeline. You get 4 points for each lifeline used, one less point. And the lifelines are what set the card is from, what stage the card is, and then read an attack name on the card. Still been reasonably close the last couple of weeks. Chip has made 1 point gain. We haven't had many points over the last like 10 weeks. It's currently 20-25 with Chip in the lead. Chip, do you think you're gonna be able to grow your lead this week?
Easily.
All right, are you ready for
Yes.
your okay?
I know Azul's giving me no easy buttons here.
I mean, I don't know. With some of these, like it feels like they shouldn't be, and then you
I'm
kind of get
already
them
ready to
anyways,
lock
man.
in like girder or something like that as my guess. Like, yeah, you're definitely giving me something tough.
All right,
Some middle evolution. Olive.
it's its swiftness is unparalleled. It can scale a tower of more than 2,000 feet in a minute's time.
Ooh. Scale a tower of 2,000 feet in a minute's time. So obviously a very fast Pokemon. What's the first line? Read it again.
Its swiftness is unparalleled.
Swiftness is unparalleled. So obviously something pretty quick here. I mean, one of my first thoughts was like Galarian Zapdos, like the Roadrunner esque Pokemon, right? So that's one of my kind of first thinkings here. Um, what are some other really fast Pokemon that would be running around a building? I guess is another aspect here to think about. Maybe some city dwelling type Pokemon. Let's go with what set the card is from. I will need some help here. Start with that. That's kind of my go-to starting lifeline.
It's from Breakthrough.
Okay, so not Galarian Zapdos. Breakthrough, though. The very first weekend that Breakthrough was legal was the first weekend I went to a Pokemon tournament.
You play.
Uh,
Oh yeah,
uh,
you played. Hang on,
Giratina
Vileplume. Yeah,
Vileplume.
Giratina Vileplume.
Yeah, that was sick. So I do know a lot of I know a lot of the random cards in Breakthrough. I probably opened 1,000 packs of Breakthrough because it was like right when I was getting into the game, and I was like, yeah, just I love Pokemon and buying packs, opening packs.
Yeah, I love Pokemon, man.
I think I bought 2 cases of that set, if I'm remembering right. Like, I opened a lot of that set.
Jeez. Breakthrough Enjoyer.
Yeah. Um, there's like man, I don't know what else would fit this description. Let me hear an attack name.
Cut.
Wow, really helpful here, huh? Could it be Dodrio or Doduo? Dodrio. It wouldn't be Doduo. It would maybe be Dodrio. I don't think that's its attack name, though. There is a Dodrio in that set. Let me get what stage the card is. Just use all my lifelines here.
Stage 1.
Well, Dodrio is a stage 1. Um, yeah, it's that Retreat Aid Dodrio. I don't remember what its attack name is. I have this card in my cube. I don't think its attack name is Cut. Oh, man. I just don't know what else it could be. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Dodrio. We'll see if it's right.
It is not Dodrio. I don't think there's anything else I can give you as a hint here. It all right, I'm pretty sure it's like uh it's one of like a it's like a starter card. One of those like Japanese starter deck cards.
It's just like a super vanilla card.
Yeah.
Like it's got 2 attacks, one for 1 energy that does 20 damage, one for 2 energy that does 40 damage, and that's it, pretty much.
Got 1 attack for 2 energy that does 30 damage.
Okay, okay.
It is
Yep.
you got anything else?
Nope.
It's Frogadier.
Frogadier.
I don't know if there's Frogadiers hanging out in cities,
I
but
don't think Frogadier is that fast. I think this is just a lie.
What do you mean it has unparalleled swiftness?
Apparently,
Wait,
apparently.
there's 3 of them. There's 3 of the exact same card. Where did these come from?
It's already used for, water duplicates, you know?
Oh, it's got the whole squad out there.
These 2 are from the this is from the trainer kit Suicune, and this
Okay.
one's from also the trainer kit Suicune.
Then, of course, we put another one in the main set in Breakthrough.
Yeah. Wow. It can scale a tower of more than 2,000 feet in a minute's time. I just didn't think Frogadier was speedy like that, you know?
He's got it like that. Look at him. Look at him go. He's
Cut
ready to go.
also did not help very much.
No, not really. I was
Here's the
thinking you
Dodrio, I guess, which is in the set.
yeah, that Fury attack, though.
Yeah,
No
not
cutting.
cut. Not cut.
Never lucky this time, Chip, but it's okay. I can't catch you next week, even though I plan on getting 4 points. You know,
Or
it'll get
any
close.
week.
Well, we'll see about that. I have been making some gains recently. Been making
Working
the
out?
gains. I do what I can. All right, last thing to talk about today is I guess we already like knew about the. Do we know about the? Is this the announcement of the world's artwork as well as the
No,
merchandise?
no, we've seen the whole
Oh
world's
yeah,
web
the whole world's website
out
has.
in the theme. Yeah, we've seen the theme,
All
but
right,
this
I
is
was
the
just
first
testing you.
time.
I was testing you. You were
Right.
right. Yeah, you got it.
We did get a reveal of some of the world's merchandise that will be. I think this is all stuff that'll be available at the Pokemon Center. So this is different from the competitor kits.
Yep.
The competitor backpack and playmat and stuff look a little bit different. So this is what will be available for sale at the Pokemon Center in pop up in Honolulu, Hawaii at Worlds.
I actually don't remember. Do they have like a competitor exclusive item, or is it just that the mat says competitor? Is that like
The
the
mat says competitor usually, and there is usually a competitor exclusive item.
the bag different
The
usually?
bag is different, yeah.
Yeah. I don't remember.
Yeah, I'll pull up the one from last year. The backpack last year was way cooler. The store one was way cooler than the competitor one. So this was the competitor one right here.
Mhm.
Okay, the blue, and
All
this
right.
was the
All
one
right.
that you could get in the store.
Oh yeah, it's not even close. It's just
Yeah.
like yeah, the other one is so like it's too blue. Everything is blue. But you got the colors with like the black on the other one, and that's like such a better contrast of it just looks way cleaner.
Yeah.
It's not even close.
One
So
thing that I think is a little disappointing is that the backpack is literally the exact same design as these two backpacks.
this is better than some previous years though, where the backpack was like a shoulder bag. I don't even know what it was.
Yeah, I
These
think
backpacks are at
recent
least backpacks. Like 20 like Anaheim year, I wanna say.
yeah.
Anaheim Worlds. Or what other worlds have there been that I've been to? Anaheim. I wanna say Anaheim. I wanna say that's the one I'm thinking of. I don't remember for sure.
Um, the shoulder bags are usually the ones that are given out for, like, top 32 or whatever, right?
I'm thinking about the yeah, not those, but like the just the backpack, the world's backpacks, they were just like really small. Like it's not like shoulder bags, but yeah, the
Oh,
shoulder
the
bags are
Anaheim backpack? Yeah, 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 I remember. The Anaheim backpack, the competitor backpack was like this, and it was tiny. Yeah, I
yeah, it was
remember
just like
that.
really small.
It was, like, made for a toddler.
Yeah, the shoulder bags are like the top 32 bags
Yeah.
they give out worlds. I got except the year Robin won, it was actually a backpack, I believe, because I have it. I don't
Yeah,
know where it
here,
is.
there's this tweet from Owen Dalligard. He said, "I feel like the world's bags used to be so unique, but now they are getting a little stale. Examples of 2016, 18, and 19 having unique designs, but 22, 23, 24, and all the recent ICs having the same shape and basic design." So here's the one that got revealed today. Here's
Yeah.
the Nashville Worlds
I
one.
can't yeah, I can't I that one
Yeah.
just feels so like if you go back to the natural one, those ones like that was like it was like that for nat like it's like a I don't even know. It's like it's just there's not very much bag to the bag, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? It's like
I
but
definitely agree that it does feel bad that, that's, like, the same design
yeah.
reused. Like, I would
Just
like to see that be freshened up, but I will say, like, comparatively looking at these 2 backpacks, like, which one are you more likely to use? The one with the gaping hole up at the top or the one that
It's
actually
a
unzips
satchel
as a
kind of.
backpack? Yeah.
Yeah. But the DC one was pretty cool, like, that in comparison to the other ones definitely stands out for
Yeah.
sure, right?
It fit
So,
on, like,
yeah.
the explorer theme as well that they were doing with the Pikachus at the time.
Yeah, like, the actual design the physical design of it is, like, unique and different. Now they're just, like, changing up the images on the backpack, which I guess
Yeah.
I definitely feel that for sure. It feels a little lazy, definitely. So, I mean, yeah, hopefully it's something they do more with in the future, but, I mean, I guess it
Have you ever
depends how
seen
much
the
they.
old school ones?
I definitely have, like, off the top of my head, I can't picture them. Yeah,
Worlds
yeah,
in
yeah.
2005?
Now those are just backpacks with patch on
Yes.
them.
Just has a patch.
Yeah,
But I think this one so this is like a Ultra Pro backpack as well, so I think it was like,
yeah,
uh, card player in mind type backpack, like,
yeah, yeah.
the storage space was designed with thoughts of, like, where to put your cards and stuff. Also, apparently this backpack is $800, so there's that.
There's that.
It probably
Honestly,
isn't actually worth that much, but
I
yeah.
like this one more the design of this more than what we maybe put something a little bit more there that kind of speaks to the theme,
Yeah,
but if
yeah.
you put a little bit of themage on something like that, that I would like more than what we're gonna have this year or the last couple years. But, like, the
I
DC
hope that
world
they
definitely
make the
trumps them.
competitor kit one look way cooler than the store one. Like, you should reward your competitors for
Yeah, they gotta give 'em some extra stuff because,
like,
yeah.
this comparison it's honestly inexcusable, man. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, it's actually pretty bad. I mean, I'm sure there's someone who likes the blue one, but this one looks like they just put a bunch of stickers to go to the blue one. Like, it's like on the top there. It looks like they just put a bunch of stickers up there. They feel so out of place.
This one also, like, instantly sold out, I think, at World
Yeah, that
Store.
one has
Like,
like
this is one of the
such
most
more.
desirable items from the World Store.
It's a much more cohesive design.
Yeah.
But this one just feels like, yeah, it feels like a bunch of stickers put on it. And then I guess we don't know what the competitor one looks like because that is the world's backpack right there, right?
Yeah, this is the stuff that
Um,
you'll be able to get in the store. They've got the dice set, which has become an annual thing as well now at this point. I mean, I think this backpack design is cool. It's
it's
just
all
not
right.
super unique, right? It's not super unique.
Yeah,
I like the,
the
like, floral pattern, right? It's on brand with the theme. Like, I think that is really cool. I like that you see the Pikachu patch here. You got a little Mantike back there. It looks like a love disc silhouettes in the background. The card sleeves that you'll get with the Pikachu with the snorkel on it. The damage counter set that they have started to make the last few years. The double deck box and the playmat, lanyard, pin sets. They released some of the plushes. We've got an Azumarill with it's literally just looks like an Azumarill, but it's got a flower glued to its ear. Nothing else special about it, just a flower glued to its ear.
Bro, I feel there has to be a Simpsons episode about literally like that. Like, it's like the exact same thing, but with just like, a flower stuff. There's a Simpsons episode about
And
that.
then they make it, about much more expensive or whatever.
Yeah.
This one is really cool. I thought this one was really cool, the Riolu plush. He's got a little snorkel set, he's got his flippers, but he's also got a camera in a waterproof bag.
Yeah. They went all out. They no detail,
Yeah.
missed on that one for sure.
Single deck box. I've in the years past, I've always picked up the double deck box, but they didn't have one in Japan. That was like one of the you remember that? That like got canceled. They were gonna have a double
Yeah.
deck box, it got canceled. So
I
I've
feel like
got the
that is one of
single
the
they've got the single deck box, but I'm glad to see that the double deck box is returning.
yeah, for players, I feel like the big thing. What the big thing that a lot of players like to have is the double deck. I mean, they're just really nice. The double deck boxes are pretty nice.
Yeah.
I feel like for like the players at least. I don't know about how much collectors care about that kind of stuff. But for the players anyways,
Oh, that's
it's
really
definitely
cool
something.
too. They've got some of the deep sea Pokemon on the bottom. The card dividers have the different Pokemon diving. And this was one of the most unique things that a ukulele.
Didn't we bring that up? Dude, I swear someone said that
I may
that
have. I
I
know.
think you did.
Yeah.
Like
Theorized.
yeah, theorize like, okay, what is it gonna be their guitar pick
Yeah.
of the event, for the item? What they have last year in Japan? I forget what they do for like
The
the
ramen bowl.
yeah, and then now they got the ukulele. Nashville, they had the guitar picks.
Hmm.
So I mean, this thing's gonna sell out instantly, right?
Oh, it's got to, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there's not gonna be many of them. They
Maybe
also
there's
had
one in
like
the competitor bag too.
Nah. I don't think it fit. I guess you can make it fit. You can make it fit.
Dude, what if you sit
Depends how
down
big they
round
are.
one at Worlds and your opponent's just sitting there strumming the ukulele waiting for you?
I call a judge, tell him to put it away.
Dude, I'm gonna go to the World Store, I'm gonna buy one of these, and I'm gonna sit outside the World Store and, open up the case or whatever and start playing music and, collect change or whatever.
You know how to play a
Start
ukulele?
busking. I sort of, I would say no at the moment, but I have a ukulele and have played it before. I actually
Okay.
don't have it at it's at my parents' house, but, like, when I was in high school, college, like, I had a ukulele. I have, like I know how to play the guitar. I know how to play the guitar pretty well, but, I've, like, throughout the years, picked up, like, a couple other stringed instruments and loosely started to play them. The ukulele is one, the mandolin is another one. Uh,
You're a uke
I would
enjoyer.
not say I know how to play it, but, like, if I spent some time and looked at a couple chord charts, I could, like, easily play, like, any campfire song, like, 4-chord song type.
Alright, alright. Well, I'll test you with that at Worlds. We'll
Well,
see.
hold on now. I'm not agreeing to that necessarily, but
We also might not be able to get one of them, so that'd be
that's
tough.
the biggest issue here, right?
Yeah, definitely. Alright. Um, do they have any other items on here that we didn't look
No,
at? Or
this
we
is
look
it.
at them?
Yeah, this is it.
Yeah.
Everything that's revealed so far. Definitely the thing to wait for is just gonna be like what's the competitor exclusive things.
But do they ever announce that? That we always find that out at the event, right?
No, no,
Or
they've revealed online beforehand in the past what the competitor kits would look like.
oh, okay.
I think it's a more recent thing though that they've done. I don't
Because
know
I
if
feel
I'll be
like
able to find it.
yeah, because I feel like generally in the past that it's usually like the first couple of players who are in line to check in are the ones who like let everyone know what's actually in the competitor kits.
Mhm. I
Um,
think I'd want to say that last year it was on the website beforehand,
I
the
think you might be
content.
right. I think you might be right. I
Oh,
don't
no, it
remember for
was in
sure.
a Nintendo Direct or something like that, or a Pokemon Presents. It was in a
Mm,
Pokemon Presents. Yeah, that's what it was, and they showed, like, this is what our competitors will get.
yeah, yeah. All right, all right. Okay, well, I think that's it for this week, right? I don't think I had nothing else on top of my head. I don't know if you had anything else you want to talk about,
Yeah, I don't
but
think so. Yeah, a little bit of a shorter episode this week, but, there's just not the most happening right now. We're in a little bit of a lull, but next week we'll definitely be talking about, some of the things we've seen come out of Japan. There's not really results to talk about because there's not, like, tournaments or city leagues and stuff like that happening, but, people have been posting deck lists and stuff. We'll maybe kinda look at some of those things. Yeah, for the set that comes out even after Worlds, I guess. Um, I guess actually next week I guess next week, the Shrouded Fable will be live on TCG Live at some point during the week next week, right? Either Wednesday or Thursday?
yeah, it should drop. It drops. I think it's confirmed Thursday. I think the reason they did it Wednesday for the last major set release was because it was a long weekend starting on Friday.
Mm,
I believe there was like a holiday or something on the Friday that Friday. That's what someone in my chat says. That's why it was like probably released on Wednesday. I was kind of like, oh, I wouldn't mind the set releasing on Wednesday on PDCG Live moving forward, but Thursday's fine as well. It's the day before the release of the set. Makes sense.
alright. Well, we really appreciate everyone's support as always. If you do enjoy the podcast, be sure to leave us a like, a rating, review, comment, subscribe. All those things go a long way in helping us out and helping more people discover what we've got going on here at the Uncommon Energy Podcast. If you want to stay up to date with us, best place to do it is over on X. You can follow myself at Chipritchie, Azul at Azul_GG. You can follow the podcast at Uncommon underscore Energy.
Yeah. Appreciate the support as always. Catch y'all next week, Wednesday, 7 a.m. Eastern. Yeah, we're back to our weekly schedule. See you then.
Yeah. See ya.